Hi there, it's Roy Breton from GardenEquipmentReview.com. Today we're looking at choosing the right type of hedge cutter. So basically I'm just going to go through the various types of hedge cutters that are available. There's sort of four main types, I would say. There's petrol hedge cutters, there is battery powered cordless hedge cutters, there are the electric hedge cutters, aren't quite so popular now, and there's the long reach hedge cutters. So let's start with the petrol ones at the top. Now petrol is still my preferred type, maybe because I've used them professionally, so I like to have a sort of a good quality tool. Now this one here, an example, is a steel one. These are more expensive, but I always recommend people buy a quality tool rather than a cheaper tool. Now I do appreciate we've all got a budget to stick to, and it's not always possible to buy the best, but long term in my experience, if you buy something, a quality tool, it works out cheaper in the long run. So if you were using a tool like this for your own personal garden, it would give you many years of service. I know that from a fact. I've used them commercially and I've had minimal problems with them, and they give good service. We have got more budget models here. You can see all different types, so check out the reviews, have a look, and like I say, this is more about the types rather than individual models. So the only trouble is petrol hedge cutters, they can be a bit heavier than electric or battery ones, so bear that in mind. To be fair, normally to cut a hedge it doesn't take that long unless it's an absolutely massive hedge, so I can put up with a heavier petrol hedge cutter. I also like the fact that providing you've got a can of 2-stroke petrol, there's no restrictions, there's no batteries to run out, there's no trailing cable as you have with the electric ones, and they generally have more power. The teeth are, let's see if I can bring this picture up a bit. I don't think I can, but the teeth here on the larger petrol models are generally bigger and can cut through, rather than just be a trimmer, they can cut through sort of probably about 3/4 of an inch, which is 1.5 centimetres. I wouldn't, if anything's too thick, I wouldn't force it to cut through. I'd use a chainsaw or a good set of loppers, but they certainly cut more than the average electric trimmer. So that's my take on the petrol hedge cutters. If you've got any questions, please feel free to comment on this video. Now we're coming on to the battery powered cordless hedge cutters. Now I didn't used to be a lover of battery power, but it has came a long way. The advantages: they're lightweight, the batteries are longer lasting. Now depending what you're doing with battery tools, sometimes the batteries last a long time, and sometimes if you're doing heavier work, not so long. To be fair, hedge cutting doesn't take a huge amount of power, so the batteries can last a reasonable amount of time. But for example, if you were using a battery on a chainsaw, it can soon drain your battery. I think I give an example in the blog post somewhere. I have a battery drill and a battery angle grinder, and to be fair, although the battery's a reasonable size, within 9 or 10 minutes with the angle grinder the battery's finished, and yet with the drill and screwdriver it seems to last forever. So just the fact that you're putting load onto the battery, it takes power and drains it quickly, so something to be aware of. Make sure you have enough batteries, because you don't want to run out. In many cases 2 batteries is enough, but a third one's always a bonus, so you've always got power there. So once again, there's a link to our various products, cordless ones here, various types, very small ones, bigger ones. Take a look at the reviews and have a look. So now we come on to the electric hedge cutters. Traditionally, years ago, lots of people had electric hedge cutters like Black & Decker. I don't think exists now, and they were handy because you just plug them in. However, I'm not a great lover of them. You've got the cable in the way. You're climbing up steps and things, and it's not the ideal, especially now battery powers came in. But they are cheap, lots of them, so you can get value for money. Once again, we've put electric hedge cutters in here, so or trimmers. These are generally for lighter work, not It's like the Petrol ones that will do heavier work. And finally, we come on to the long reach hedge cutters and trimmers. Now these are available in petrol and electric and battery. Once again, Stihl and other manufacturers do various battery models. Once again, if you can find a manufacturer like Stihl where you just have one battery, and for every tool, that's much better and works out much cheaper in the long run. There's also combi models. I actually use a combi Stihl where I have it on a scrimmer, a hedge cutter, and I've got a pruning chainsaw. So you can sort of utilize one power unit, and these are available with electric models and petrol. So when I say electric, I mean battery electric, which is useful. So definitely worth looking at. So the long reach hedge cutters, the downside is they can be heavy, especially the petrol ones, which I use. But I think any hedge cutter gets heavy after using it for a period of time. But because of the length, there's kind of like a leverage action, so they can be heavy. But they do enable you to reach a long way from the ground, which is good. You still need to really get up on a step ladder to do the top in general, unless your hedge is very thin. But I much prefer to be kind of looking down on the hedge or level with the hedge, so I can make a proper job. So definitely worth looking at, and I would definitely look at the combi models because they cut in half, or break in half rather, so you can have various accessories. So a little take on there, as down here I put to conclude, always buy the best machine you can afford, and look for units where the battery, if you're buying a battery machine, look for units where the batteries are compatible with other various accessories and machines, etc. Thanks very much for watching. If you've got any questions, I'm here to help.